After studying this module, you shall be able to know the meaning of recruitment, learn the factors affecting recruitment process, identify the features of recruitment policy, and evaluate the steps in recruitment process. We shall commence our discussion by studying about recruitment first. Recruitment, as the name suggests, means attracting candidates, which is primarily a matter of identifying, evaluating, and using the most appropriate source of applicants. This is what has been said by Michael Armstrong. Another definition by Edwin Flippo is recruitment is the process of searching for prospective employees and stimulating and encouraging them to apply for jobs in an organization. According to Yoder, recruitment is a process to discover the sources of manpower to meet the requirements of the staffing schedule and to employ effective measures for attracting that manpower in adequate numbers to facilitate effective selection of an efficient working force. Recruitment refers to the process of attracting suitable candidates to apply for a vacancy arising within an organization. When an organization needs individuals with certain skills sets, it taps the market. It may require individuals to join the organization to supplement the existing skill or complement the existing skills. In both the cases, after careful job analysis and manpower planning in an organization, the organization develops a candidate profile. This comprises of the technical skill sort and the attitude. Depending upon the status of the job market, an organization deploys its sources of recruitment such as company website, search agencies, headhunters, campus placement, newspaper advertisements, and others. The primary function of these sources is to identify the right kind of people for the vacancy and then motivate them to apply to the organization. Now let us understand the factors that affect recruitment process. Recruitment policies need to be defined clearly. It will be easier to hire individuals and recruit the best talent possible. Objectives need to be definitely defined clearly. The organizational goals, vision, and mission statements. The job description must be explained very clearly so the right person is chosen for the right job. Human resource management is a must, and at times these individuals come from a thorough management background, so the job post must be defined clearly. The article explains various factors that affect the recruitment policy. These must be kept in mind while defining the various areas of the policy. Organizational objectives need to be defined clearly before hiring any individual. Startups need to define these objectives clearly so that the right set of individuals would apply for these positions. Larger organizations have different departments and different posts in these departments. The job description must go along with the department. Let us take an example of a marketing company. Creative department would need individuals who come from a technical background, while media buying and selling would be from a sales background. Areas need to be defined based on the departments and sub-departments. This would help the hiring process immensely. Personnel policy affects the recruitment policy of the organization. Communication either makes an individual stay or leave an organization. Depending on the recruitment policy, the organization can select the right individual for the right job. Turnover rates, which means labor turnover rates, would reduce significantly. Training is an area which organizations spend a lot of money in. If the right individual is hired, the company can have a loyal and skilled staff. Getting skilled staff is a very important matter. The productivity level would increase in an organization then. Having a common criterion for recruiting individuals would be beneficial. Newer and older employees would be treated in the same way. A recruitment agency must be selected which understands the organization and has similar clients. Pay package and bonuses must be explained very clearly at the recruitment stage itself. The policy must define these areas very clearly. There must be no scope left for ambiguity. To conclude, we can say that factors affecting recruitment are both internal factors as well as external factors and may be divided as follows. Number 1, let us consider some of the internal factors first. For the internal mechanism of the organization, some of internal factors that affect recruitment process are: number 1, size of the organization. Recruitment process is affected by the size of the organization to a very large extent. Experience suggests that larger organizations recruit more candidates as compared to the smaller ones. Large organizations find recruitment less problematic than small organizations. Second, recruitment policy. The recruitment policy of the company or the firm would also affect the recruitment process. This policy is concerned with candidates from outside the organization, whereas others want to recruit from internal sources. Let us learn about the third, that is image of the organization. Image or goodwill or reputation of the organization also affects the recruitment process. Organizations having good image or good reputation in the market obviously would attract potential, better and competent candidates to a large extent. Good public relations, rendering public services, etc. help to enhance the image, reputation and goodwill of the organization. Let us consider the image of the job, that is the fourth point. Jobs having good image in terms of better remuneration, working condition, promotion opportunities, career development opportunities, etc. can attract the potential and qualified candidates to a large extent. Let us now consider the external factors that affect the recruitment process. External factors are concerned with the environmental changes that will take place in the external environment of the organization. Some of the external factors that affect recruitment policy are: number 1, the demographic factors. A demography is the study of human population in terms of age, sex, occupation, religion, composition, ethnicity, etc. The demographic factors have profound influence on recruitment process. Number 2, the labor market. The labor market constitutes the force of demand and supply of labor of a particular importance. For example, if demand for a particular skill is high relative to its supply, the recruitment process involves more efforts. Contrary to it, if supply is more than the demand, the recruitment process will be simpler, easier and smoother. Number 3, unemployment situations. Unemployment rate of particular area is yet another influencing factor of recruitment process. If the unemployment rate is high, the recruitment process will be simpler and vice versa. Let us consider the fourth point, that is social and political environment. The forces of social and political environment also influence recruitment policy. For example, the change in government can have a direct impact upon recruitment policy of the company due to change in government rules and regulations. The sixth point is legal considerations. Legal considerations with respect to employment provisions for underprivileged castes, etc., will have a positive impact on recruitment policy of the organization. Let us now understand the features of recruitment policy. Some of the features of recruitment policy are: number 1, recruitment is a process or series of actions. Number 2, it is a linking activity as it brings employer and prospective employees together. 3, it is a positive function. 4, the basic function of recruitment is to locate the sources of people required to meet the job requirements. 5, it is a pervasive function. 6th and lastly, recruitment is a two-way function as it takes both the recruiter and the recruitee together. Let us now know the various steps involved in recruitment process. The recruitment process consists of several steps such as: step 1, let us know what is a job. Gather information about the nature of the job. At this point of time, think about the content such as the tasks to be performed, making up the job, the job's purpose, the outputs required by the job holder, how it fits into organization structure, and lastly, the skills and personal attributes needed or required to perform the role effectively. This analysis can form the basis of a job description and person specification. Then will obviously come the step number 2. Under step number 2, we prepare a job and person profile. A person specification or job profile states the necessary and desirable criteria for selection. Increasingly, such specifications are based on a set of competencies identified as necessary for the performance of job. These include skills, aptitude, knowledge and experience. qualifications, which should be only those necessary to carry out the job, unless the candidates are recruited on the basis of future potential. For example, graduates. Persons, qualities relevant to the job, such as the ability to work as part of a team, and the document formed from the person specification can then be used to inform the criteria you use to shortlist the applicants. Let us now know the third step, that is finding candidates. Candidates can be found through various methods. From the internal methods, we have staff referrals, succession planning, secondments, and job sharing. It is important not to forget the internal talent pool while recruiting. Providing opportunities for development and career progression is an important factor for employee retention and motivation. There are external methods of recruitment too. There are several options available for generating interest from individuals from outside the organization, such as the online recruitment, press advertisements, networking, and open days. Advertisements remain the most common means of attracting and recruiting. Advertisements should be clear and indicate the requirement of the job, necessary and desirable criteria for the job applicants, that is, to limit the number of inappropriate applicants received, nature of the organization's activities, job location, reward package, job tenure, for example, the contract length, and lastly, details of how to apply. Advertisements should be genuine and relate to a job that actually exists. They should appeal to all sections of the community using positive visual images and wordings. The step 4 involves managing the application process. There are two main formats in which applications are likely to be received: the curriculum vitae, that is CV, or application form. It is possible that these could be submitted either on paper or electronically, and the use of e-applications, that is internet, intranet, and email, is now part of mainstream recruitment practices. Let us consider the application forms. Application forms allow for information to be presented in a consistent format and therefore make it easier to collect information from job applicants in a systematic way and assess objectively the candidate's suitability for the job. The CV, that is curriculum vitae. The advantage of CV is that it gives candidates the opportunity to sell themselves in their own way and do not have the restrictions of fitting information into boxes as often happens in case of an application form. However, CV makes it possible for candidates to include lots of additional irrelevant material which may make harder to assess consistently. Fifth step involves selecting candidates. Selecting candidates involves two main processes: shortlisting and assessing applicants to decide who should be made a job offer. Shortlisting. The process of shortlisting involves slimming down the total number of applications received to a short list of candidates you wish to take forward to the more detailed assessment phase of the selection process. When deciding who to shortlist, it is helpful to draw up a list of criteria using the person specification. Each application can then be rated according to these standards, or a simple scoring system can be used. Let us now consider assessment. A range of different methods can be used to assess candidates. These vary in their reliability as predictor or performance in the job, in their ease and expense to administer. Typical methods include general interview, competency-based interview, intra-exercise, role play, presentation. Let us consider step 6, that is, making the appointment. Under appointment, let us talk about contract. Offers of employment should always be made in writing, but it is important to be aware that an oral offer of employment made in an interview is as legally binding as a letter to the candidate. References. A recruitment policy should state clearly how references would be used, when in the recruitment process they will be taken up, and what kind of references will be necessary. For example, from the former employers, these rules should be applied consistently. Medical examination. It is reasonable to require completion of a health questionnaire where good health is relevant to the job. Any particular physical or medical requirement should be made clear in the job advertisement or other recruitment literature. Let us consider step 7 now, which involves induction process. Induction is a very critical part of the recruitment process for both employer as well as the new employee. An induction plan should include orientation, that is describing where the physical facilities are. Orientation regarding organization, that means showing how the employee fits into the team and how their roles fit with the organization's strategy and goals. Health and safety information. This is a legal requirement. Explanation of terms and conditions. Details of the organization's history, its products and services, its culture and values. And lastly, a clear outline of the job or role requirement. Let us now recapitulate what we have studied so far. Recruitment is the process of generating a pool of qualified applicants for organizational jobs through a series of activities. Recruitment must be viewed strategically, and discussions should be held about the relevant labor markets in which to recruit. The applicant population is affected by recruitment methods, recruiting message, applicant qualifications required, and administrative procedures. A growing number of employers are turning to flexible staffing, which makes use of recruiting sources and workers who are not employees. Using temporary employees and employee leasing are two common approaches to flexible staffing. The recruiting process begins with human resource planning and concludes with evaluation of recruiting efforts. Both HR staff and operating managers have responsibilities in the process. Recruiting is subject to some legal constraints, including avoidance of disparate impact, compliance with the EEO requirements and affirmative action plans, and use of non-discriminatory advertising. Efforts should be made to recruit a diverse workforce, including older workforce, individuals with disabilities, and individuals who are racial, ethnic minorities. Current employees, former employees, and previous applicants are the most common internal sources available. Recruiting efforts should be evaluated to assess how effectively they are being performed. Recruiting evaluation typically includes examining applicant quality and quantity, the time necessary to file openings, and the costs and benefits of various recruiting sources.